So here in Puerto Rico is the first place that I ever started doing anything to really work on my body and work on my mind. One of those things I did while I was here was psilocybin. That was an interesting trip. A lot of people also talk about like ayahuasca. I haven't actually done ayahuasca, but there's a couple of things about those two medicines that I think is interesting. First of all, let's talk about ayahuasca. That's the popular one. What happens when you take ayahuasca? There's the mental component. There's the, I don't want to say hallucinogenic, but there's the medicinal mental component for sure. But there's also the physical component of what happens in your body when you do these. One of those is shaking. Your body will start to shake. One of them is purging, where you will start to puke and purge out your back end as well. That sun's pretty bright, huh? And there's an interesting component about all those three things, which is what is physically happening in your body when you're doing that. Your shaking is contracting your muscles repeatedly over and over and over. When you're vomiting, same thing, you're contracting your organs, you're very tightly your core muscles over and over. Same thing when you're pooping yourself explosively. And what happens in animals and humans is we store trauma in our bodies physically, in our muscles, in our ligaments, in our nervous system, in our tendons, in our fascia, and in the organs. And so when you're having these repetitive, tightly contracted movements of your organs internally, of your bowels, of your gut, of your core, of your throat muscles, of your jaw, and of your whole body as you're shaking, you know what you're doing. You're literally shaking out, squeezing out the energy, and you're using it so it's no longer stored. And animals do this naturally. I don't think they puke, but they shake after a threat. And all that stressful energy that they had built up, they literally shake it off. And humans don't shake. Of course, we can shake, and we do. I've been able to train my body to just shake whenever I wanted to. I can lie down, relax, and just let my body start doing some kind of convulsion, either my chest, my arms, my legs, even my face. And it's a great way to, I don't want to say release stress, because it's way more than that. It's way deeper than that. Stress, people say, the way people talk about stress, it's a mental thing. But this is more of a body thing. And it's not going to go away until you get it out. Imagine it's kind of like water through your body. Your energy in your body is like water that flows. And it can get clogged in the pipes. The pipes in this case is your fascia and kind of just everything in your body. Like energy just moves. But the fascia is a big part of it. It's a big network. And so people take these retreats to Bolivia, to Peru, to do these medicines. And I'm not saying don't do them. What I'm saying is I think there's more practical ways you can do the same work on a daily basis or just at home without having to take a trip somewhere. Not that like trips aren't great, definitely take trips, but it's a process is what I'm getting at. Healing is not an event. Your mindset changing is not going to be an event. You have to do the process, you have to put in the work day in, day out. It's not just going to be, let me just show up to this thing and I'll be healed and I'll be totally good for the rest of my life. That's not how it works. Unfortunately, that's what a lot of like Western medicine talks about. Oh, you have anxiety? Quick, take this pill and then you'll be fine. But then you have to take it all the time, and it's a sad thing that the human race likes the quick fix and doesn't want to do the work. You're not going to get the same results. No one can fix your mind. No one can kind of relieve your anxiety or heal it or get rid of it except you, because it's all in here. And you have to be your own mental mechanic to get in there and dig out whatever you need to let go of. Your insecurities, your fears, your doubts. And that's what the MindWorks toolkit teaches. The MindWorks program is about how to do that work yourself, how to kind of get into your own mind almost surgically, how to be your own mechanic of what's going on upstairs so that you can start letting go, actually letting go of what you need to let go of. Another thing I found is, and I think that's where the medicines help. The medicines help because you'll become aware and it can help you let go as well. Although with psilocybin, that's what I wanted to say about psilocybin. When I took it, I had so many notes of awarenesses, of insights about things I believed, things I was holding on to, grudges I was holding on to, beliefs I had about people, about the way people should be. And it didn't actually get rid of them. It didn't let them go, but it gave me the awareness of them. And I had written them all down. I had a whole notebook. And the next day, I sat on my couch literally for 8 hours and I did the work. I did the inner work. I did my MindWorks process. And through that, after 8 hours, I had all these things. I went through them one by one by one by one by one, and I let them go. And what do I mean by let them go? I released the energetic charge that was driving those thought patterns and beliefs in the first place. By doing that, I felt like a whole new person. My body energetically was different. I felt lighter, my mind was clearer, less brain fog. I literally was walking around seeing things as if I was seeing them for the first time. I felt like a different person. It's something I can only try to describe in words, right? It's not going to be the same. You have to feel it for yourself. And you have to do the work. That's how you get there. You have to let go of the energy that's driving our old patterns and our old behaviors, because we store it and then it becomes part of our personality. And that's why we become the way we become. And the way this happens is we feel stressed from some event or some belief or whatever. Some stressful event happens. We onboard that stress and we store it in our bodies. And if we don't let it go, it's still there. And it's going to remind us of where it came from. It's going to remind us of that event, of that thought pattern, of that belief, the more that we carry it. And here's the other part. The more we carry it, the more it reminds us. Our human brains can think of the past and the future and imagine things. And so then we keep thinking about the same events, and then we keep storing the same stuff even more, and then it just gets worse and worse and worse. So as a human being, we have to do the work to let go of what we're carrying. Otherwise, it's going to affect our psyches, it's going to affect our minds, our mental clarity, it's going to affect our decision making, it's going to affect our business, it's going to affect our career. So it's really important that we actually put in the time to do the work. And so what does it look like? It's kind of like this mental surgery approach I was talking about earlier, where you got to dig in, you got to find the things you believe that are making you you, that you don't know you're believing, and you don't know why they're making you. Subconsciously you do. There's a part of you that knows why you're doing everything you're doing, but we don't acknowledge it in our conscious mind on a daily basis. And so the work looks like, and the MindWorks program and the process looks like diving into the subconscious and to the body, finding out exactly why, for us specifically, individually, everyone's different, right? So the whole process is about, how do you find your stuff? We find it, we become aware of it, and then we literally start chipping away at the energy that's behind it. And we start removing that energy and we start releasing it. And we release it in the same way the animals do. We release it just by, it could be shaking, it doesn't have to be shaking. It could be literally just by having it dissolve and fizzle away, because you can move it with your mind. You can just literally pull it upwards and release it and let it go. It's pretty mind-blowing. It's surprising to me that it's what's possible. But if you imagine that the energy is like a physical thing, like water that can flow, then it starts to make a lot more sense, because you realize I'm storing all this toxic sludge in my body, and that's what's driving my mental behaviors. That's what's driving my beliefs. That's what's driving my thought train. And you got to be your own conductor. But a lot of times it's the energy in your body that's going to be the conductor. And if your energy is toxic because we've stored it for years, then that's something we got to start clearing out. And the thing is that it's stored in a way where you can let it go. And it's going to manifest in your body as feelings and sensations. And that's stuff that we can work on. There's a level of energy that you can feel physically and that we can interact with our mind. And that's where you put your attention. And as we start doing that, things really start to change. So I'm going to keep walking on this beach and enjoying this amazing island. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.